I'm a volunteer representing the Health and Science Soup Council, a quiet, small, dedicated nonprofit out of Green Bay working for peace, justice, and the environment. My name is Margaret Mary. I'm also known as Mother Nature. I'm an artist, a teacher, a student, and a dreamer dedicated to saving the planet by artistic recycling. For decades, artistic recycling has been my passion and my forte in classrooms and educational venues throughout the Midwest and beyond. I've also done some tasty and delicious recycling in my front yard. In the early 80s, a colleague introduced me to Lori Otto and Wild Ones. As head of my school's environmental committee, I learned about our water crisis, the numerous health hazards and dangers of lawn chemicals, about local food shortages, about our declining bird, bat, and bee populations. So I recycled my lawn. I started yardening. Yardening is the blissful marriage of a yard and gardening. I started yardening rather surreptitiously, planting mugwort, oregano, and chives next to and amongst my lilies, anemones, heirloom peonies, and spiderwort. Finally, one day I woke up. Opportunity presented itself, and I came to the very clear realization that my grass was not serving me. I recognized the stupidity of having a lawn. I much preferred fresh flowers, mint, onion, garlic, basil, lemon balm, rosemary, rhubarb, and more. I recycled my entire lawn. Overnight, I was yardening. When we talk about local and fresh food options, it doesn't get any fresher than right out your front door. So I'm here to tell you today that you too can recycle your lawn. The Victory Garden Initiative of Milwaukee recently installed 117 Victory Gardens in the Green Bay Garden Blitz. Their motto is, "Move grass, grow food." The recent drought in California promises increased food prices, so yardening is a prudent move. Centuries ago, most people believed that the world was flat. Eventually, we learned this is not true. Decades ago, some people believed that smoking was good for you, and some doctors actually advised patients to smoke, that it would help them relax and deal with anxiety. Cigarette ads even convinced people that smoking made them look cool and sexy and desirable. And now we know this is not true. Joe Camel is really Joe Chemo, and even secondhand smoke kills people. Check out the cigarette ad from the 40s. It's shocking now, but this 1946 advertisement was typical for the times. Again, typical for the times, currently, a lot of people think that a weed-free, pristine, monoculture turf lawn is the epitome of status, wealth, progress, and success. They think it's a symbol of being a good neighbor and a responsible citizen. Some of us used to believe that, but now we know it's not true. Michael Pollan says that a pristine, chemically laden lawn is a symbol of everything that's wrong with our relationship to the land. We need to give up our perfect lawn ideal. It's costing us plenty, unquote. Fran Lefkowitz says those neatly trimmed grass lawns are ecological disasters that waste water, require pesticides and fertilizers, discourage wildlife, and cause erosion. Messier alternatives, such as a mishmash of overgrown native plants, require less maintenance, improve the soil, and soil, I say, and attract birds, bees, and butterflies, unquote. It's not just Michael, Fran, and me as Mother Nature saying this. National and internationally known experts, people more erudite than I, like Brett Rappaport, Bevan Horn, Bill McKibben of 350.org, Doug Tallamy, Richard Louv, author of Nature Principle and Last Child in the Woods, Lori Otto, Aldo Leopold, Greenpeace, the folks from Pesticides, and you, our good neighbors to the north in Canada, and many brilliant people right here in this audience today encourage you to lose the lawn and get off the grass. Greenpeace is campaigning right now to ban lawn chemicals everywhere. The Canadian provinces of our Great Lakes have made it illegal to buy or sell cosmetic lawn chemicals in order to save our water source, our Great Lakes. I think we need to reciprocate. If we don't have clean air and clean water, nothing else matters. Nothing. Carl Sagan said, anything that you're interested in is not going to happen if you can't breathe the air and drink the water. Don't sit this one out. Do something. You are by accident of fate alive at an absolutely critical moment in the history of our planet. Do something, unquote. Yardening is a simple, easy thing you can do. We spend $40 billion a year on lawn care. Pesticides, herbicides, fertilizers, mowers, whackers, blowers, and we're killing ourselves with our lawns, literally. And get this, we spend $40 billion a year, and most people only use 1/10 of their lawn. 1/10. Drive around your own neighborhood and see who's actually playing on their lawn or using their lawn. Do you know anyone who's had cancer? Any kind of cancer. Brain cancer, breast cancer, bone cancer, liver cancer, pancreatic, cancer of the appendix. How about lymphoma, leukemia, endocrine issues, MS, Parkinson's, asthma, reproductive disorders, autism, kidney issues, birth defects, miscarriage, stunted fetal growth, deformities, retardation? All of these are linked to lawn chemicals. Every one. We are literally killing ourselves with our lawns. Read for yourself. Or check out some statistics from the Clean Water Action Council newsletter by Dean Hoger. A look at cancer rates in northeastern Wisconsin. Of the 72 counties in northeastern Wisconsin, 9 from northeastern Wisconsin often appear as the top 10 recorded for frequency of the 21 cancer types. While it's concerning to see so many northeastern Wisconsin counties in the top 10 cancer list, some of the individual county cancer rates may be even more alarming. For example, Brown County was top 5 times with esophagus, melanoma, and stomach cancers. When your neighbor puts toxic chemicals on his lawn, it blows onto your lawn, through your window screens, into your air conditioning, on your pet's feet, into your house, onto your carpeting, and it kills you. Of course, it's not all of us, and generally, it's not immediate. It may take a while, and of course, there may be other factors, but it's like secondhand smoke. It's a silent killer. Right now, in the city of Green Bay, a natural landscaper must register their landscape and have a 2-foot setback to protect the neighbors from these natural plantings. There is no setback for the landscaper who uses unnatural toxic chemicals, and he is not required to register his weapons of grass destruction. There is no protection for you. No protection. Are you able to connect the dots here? At a recent presentation, an adorable 5-year-old approached me afterwards, tugged on my costume, and said, "I get it, and I'm only 5 years old." Another educator who concurs sent me this poster. It says, "I don't want you to think like me. I just want you to think." Please, just think. Please connect the dots. Lawn equipment and toxic chemicals pollute your environment. There's air pollution, water pollution, and noise pollution. Don't you just love the drone of those leaf blowers? Read 1 Square Inch of Silence by Gordon Hempton and learn what mowers and whackers and leaf blowers are doing to your hearing. Also, 1 hour of mowing pollutes as much as 340 miles on the highway. You're breathing all that exhaust. 7 million birds die annually from lawn care chemicals alone. You've heard of the canary in the coal mine. What are 7 million dead birds telling us? Some people complain that natural landscapes and front yard gardens look messy. Tomatoes in September look messy lying on the ground. Pumpkin vines in October look messy. Natural landscapes look wild and messy. I want you to know MS is messy. Leukemia is very messy. And cancer is very, very messy. Some people say it doesn't look nice. Brett Rappaport, attorney for Wild Ones, says such shallow comments demonstrate an underlying motivation that some feel to control the actions of others who dare to be different. A monoturf is a drug-addicted landscape, artificial and unhealthy. Brett Rappaport goes on to say, we need to convince villages to reconsider ill-conceived, unnatural, hostile ordinances. Unfortunately, some municipalities still use weed laws to prosecute natural landscapers, reflecting outdated, misinformed ideas and attitudes. To some, pink flamingos, polka-dotted bloomer butt ladies, pissing plywood kids, and twirling plastic flowers, astroturf-covered stoops look ridiculous, but to others, they're beautiful. By the same token, individuals have the right to a stone walkway, free-flowing natives, herbs, veggies, and real sunflowers reaching to the sky in a blaze of gold, unquote. Dean Fostick of the Associated Press says, training yourself to enjoy a more chaotic look is the single most important thing you can do. Now, I don't mean to alarm you with some of these statistics. One water expert studying the dead zone in Green Bay, a 7-mile-long stretch of algae where nothing grows and nothing lives, 7 miles long and growing larger due to the phosphorus. This water expert says, we don't mean to alarm you, but you need to be alarmed. We need to act, all of us. My mission is to educate. I'm sharing facts. Lawn chemicals kill us. Our pets, our birds, our insects, frogs, toads, snakes, small animals, and pollinators. They killed my grandpa, Uncle Fran, Cousin Paul, friends Dee, Marty, Karen, Annie, George, Andy, Donna, Kathy, Karen. I could go on and on. They also kill Fluffy and Fido, and my beloved pets, Huck, Holly, Okie, and Mother. Right now, there are food deserts in Green Bay and throughout the state. Food pantries are maxed out. Homeless shelters need donations. And kids still go to school today hungry. And what's our #1 irrigated crop? Grass. Grass uses more water than any other agricultural crop. What can you do with grass? Can grass sustain you? Is grass tasty and delicious? Can you survive on grass? Grass gives you nothing in the way of food or nutritional value. Now, weeds, on the other hand, are tasty and nutritious, and often powerful good medicine. Most weeds are actually herbs and are pricey enough when sold in herb shops and health food stores. Dandelion, $1.55 an ounce. Burdock, $1.50 an ounce. Mugwort, $14 a pound. Mullein, $22.50 a pound. Milk thistle, $22.50 a pound. One of my most welcome spring potluck dishes is sautéed dandelion greens with herbs and garlic, or better yet, young nettles, much better than store-bought spinach. So I encourage you to eat your Wheaties. Any Packer fans here? Did you know that the original Packer colors were blue and gold? That changed in the 50s when Vince became coach. Early environmentalists, Helen and Margaret Andruskevich, told me that when their friend Vince flew over Green Bay and saw all the strikingly gorgeous green and gold below, he decided to change the Packer colors because of the dandelions. So Packer fans out there, show your Packer pride, quit the lawn chemicals, and grow your green and gold right in your front yard with those gorgeous, tasty, and nutritious dandelions. That would be a lot less work, you know. The famous gardener Pat Sutton has a wild, natural, eco-friendly, biodiverse landscape, and she says, we're not the lazy gardeners, we're the wise ones. So be a wise one. Try yardening. Dr. Tara Lodog, appointed head of the National Alternative Medicine Committee by President Clinton, says we are losing our cultural medicinal heritage by killing all of these beneficial weeds. Every one of you here today is here because our ancestors from Germany, Italy, Holland, and England, and so forth, brought these weeds to America because they knew these weeds would help us survive. They knew they worked. They are potent herbal medicines, and nutritious wild edibles. Water is wasted on lawns. I know people just outside of Green Bay and in touristy Door County who don't have safe drinking water because of arsenic from the cherry and apple orchards and tainted water from mega farms' manure runoff. Yet we water our lawns with good, clean drinking water after we put the toxic chemicals on the lawn, chemicals that go into the air we breathe and the water we drink, and then we pay money to purify and clean the water and the air, and pay even more money when we become sick to cure our illnesses. Maya Angelou always said, when you know better, you do better. Now you know better. I encourage you to please lose the lawn and get off the grass. The Victory Garden Initiative says move grass and grow food, so try yardening. Monoculture turf lawns are monocultures. We need more biodiversity. We're losing our bees, our bats, our birds, our bugs, our butterflies. We're losing our pollinators. We lose 1 million species annually, according to Gretchen Mead. We are losing our pollinators. If we don't have pollinators, we don't have food. We don't eat. Bees alone pollinate 1/3 of our food. Wild One says that if we lose our bee pollinators, mankind has 2 to 4 years to live on the planet. The bats, the birds, the bees, the bugs, the butterflies, and more cannot survive on toxic monocultures. We need more flowers. Try planting more flowers, grow mint and fennel for tea, grow oregano, chives, and cilantro for cooking, add rhubarb, asparagus, and berries to your yard instead of grass. Fresh food tastes so much better. And yardening makes you healthier. You get fresh air, exercise, better nutrition with yardening, and with your own toxin-free food. A 100-square-foot garden saves $700 the first year in grocery bills. Plus, you're healthier and you don't need a gym membership, so you save even more money. Right now, there are cities in the United States that pay property owners $1.50 to $1.75 per square foot to get rid of their lawns, to lose the lawn and get off the grass, to save water. In some subdivisions in the West, it's illegal to have a grass lawn, like in Las Vegas, and parts of New Mexico, Arizona, Texas, and Nevada. My friend from Laguna Beach said in some counties in California, it's even more than that if you get rid of the grass. Other cities in the United States plant fruit and veggies next to nasturtiums, hollyhocks, and roses in city planters, median strips, terraces, and city parks, and anyone can harvest these. In Fairbanks, the homeless, tourists, residents, and soup kitchens enjoy fresh strawberries, lettuce, kale, cabbage, asparagus in city parks in season. This biodiversity, these fruit and nut trees, perennial herbs, fruits and vegetables offer low maintenance and sustainable permaculture plantings on city properties, parks, and businesses, like the Westmark Hotel in Fairbanks, Alaska, which hosts the cruise ship guests, as well as private properties in place of lawns. This is a prudent taxpayer investment. I've discovered yardening and front yard gardens in Tennessee, Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, Montana, Washington, Oregon, Arkansas, Texas, Florida, California, Spain, Holland, Canada, England, and more. Fritz Haig started Edible Estates, planting front yard gardens in the U.S., Denmark, Sweden, and Israel. Michelle Obama has a front yard garden with milkweed. Right now, if you've got grass and you want food, you could be featured in a book by Minnesota native Fritz Haig, author of Edible Estates. He's writing a book about bringing visible food production to residential communities. He says we need to reconsider lawn, the American dream. He will help you convert your landscape. It will look like a fusion, he says, between a kitchen garden and a wild landscape. He is commissioned by the Walker Art Center in Minnesota, but hurry, this offer expires soon. According to Transitions Milwaukee, edible landscapes are more appealing to the new wave of home buyers. And the National Wildlife Federation says that the installation of natural landscapes actually improves home values. Busy families favor the low maintenance and fresh food options. Right now, 26 states allow front yard gardening. Don't let fear, judgment, and misinformation hold you back. You know now. Please help Mother Nature educate others and redefine beauty. Aldo Leopold says in The Land Ethic, we need to appreciate nature for what it does, not for what it looks like. We need to redefine beauty. Aldo Leopold, he's our guy. He's from Wisconsin, you know. Consider yardening for conservation and environmental reasons. Grow edibles. Consider plants you can use for teas, dyes, fibers, for crafts, for medicine, and for their more intrinsic characteristics, like the ability to attract more beneficial insects, fix nitrogen in the soil and control erosion, provide water filtration, reestablish biodiversity, integrity, and enhance wildlife habitat. It can also alleviate flooding. Carol Moran of Shorewood encourages natives. The city of Milwaukee planted natives in the median strips and terraces to control flooding. Margaret, she said, the first 2 years they looked gorgeous, but then they started to look a little messy, she said. But you know what? I don't care. I don't have 2 feet of sewage backed up in my basement every spring, she said. The root system of grass is substantially less than the native's root system. Native root systems slurp up all that water, so you have no flooding. If you plant natives, you also have fewer problems during drought. If your landscape is in a productive, useful, and healthy state, you will be too. In today's world where millions of dollars are spent on landscaping, it makes logical and economic sense to get a tasty return for your landscape investment. Edible and native landscaping and yardening allows you to step away from a rather dull and misinformed approach to landscaping to a more interesting, worthwhile, and tasty, fun landscape. In 1943, Victory Gardens produced 10 million tons of food. Victory Gardens made a difference back then, and Victory Gardens can make a difference today. Have a productive yard, not a destructive yard. Try yardening. I saw a bumper sticker in Minnesota some time ago that says, remember, it's gardens, not grass, that'll save your fa-la-la-la. Some villages still don't understand the pressing need to change their laws and insist on prosecuting natural landscapers. This movement must overcome regressive weed laws and uninformed public officials who reject the land ethic. That's a direct quote from B. Moisette. Ben Franklin says, any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do. And Einstein reminds us that great spirits have always encountered violent opposition from mediocre minds. Ansel Adams says, it's horrifying that we have to fight our own government to save the environment. Folks all around the country, including here in Wisconsin, have been bullied and harassed and fined for their natural landscapes. The Institute for Law and Justice says you have the right to life, liberty, and the roots of happiness. According to the Institute, you need to know that Americans have the right to use the property they've worked so hard to own as they see fit in a peaceful way that does not harm others. And the Institute will not rest until that right is universally recognized, respected, and vindicated. Behind closed doors, cities are likely debating setback footage, height restrictions, and other regulations, none of which have anything to do with the public's health and safety. The good news is that committed pioneers, mavericks, and new converts willing to question the status quo and who recognize the ecological and monetary consequences of landscape choices are undermining the arbitrary legal and social barriers to gardening with nature. Thanks for helping Mother Nature save the planet by recycling your yard. Please try yardening. Doug Tallamy says, garden like your life depends on it. It is now within the power of each individual gardener to do something we all dream of doing, to make a difference. H. Spencer says, the great aim of education is not knowledge but action. So please act, be bold, inspire others to think outside the box. See the joy and exuberance in a garden. Emma Morris on public radio says, have a rambunctious garden. A guest on Oprah said, our yards, our gardens, our national parks, our temples. With yardening, you see nature's energy and beauty. Please reconsider your plot of land, reconsider your food source, and your connection to nature, our greatest spiritual teacher. Experience the happy, the healthy, and the holy with Yardening. My friend Chauncey Moran, also known as River Walker in the UP on the Lake Superior shores, says it's not about who's right, it's about what's right. What's right for our planet? Sometimes those who rock the boat are the ones who save the passengers. All truth passes through 3 stages. First, it's ridiculed. Second, it's violently opposed. And third, it's accepted as being self-evident. Schopenhauer. This is a conversation between God and St. Francis of Assisi. St. Francis is the Catholic's patron saint of the environment. It starts out with God asking Francis, "Francis, you know all about gardens and nature. What in the world is going on down there? What happened to the dandelions, the violets, the thistle, and the stuff I started eons ago? I had a perfect no-maintenance garden plan. Those plants grow in any type of soil, withstand drought, and multiply with abandon. The nectar from the long-lasting blossoms attracts butterflies, honeybees, and flocks of songbirds. I expected to see a vast array of colors by now, but all I see are these green rectangles." St. Francis says, "It's the tribes that settled there, Lord, the suburbanites. They started calling your flowers weeds and went to great lengths to kill them and replace them with grass." "Grass," says God, "but it's so boring. It's not colorful. It doesn't attract butterflies, birds, and bees, only grubs and sodworms. It's temperamental with temperatures. Do these suburbanites really want all that grass growing there?" St. Francis, "Apparently so, Lord. They go to great pains to grow it and keep it green. They begin each spring by fertilizing grass and poisoning any other plant that crops up on the lawn." God, "The spring rains and warm weather probably make grass grow really fast. That must make the suburbanites happy." St. Francis, "Apparently not, Lord. As soon as it grows a little, they cut it, sometimes twice a week." God, "They cut it? And then they bale it like hay?" St. Francis, "Not exactly, Lord. Most of them rake it up and put it in bags." God, "They bag it? Why, is it a cash crop? Do they sell it?" St. Francis, "No, just the opposite. They pay to throw it away." God, "Now let me get this straight. They fertilize grass so it'll grow, and when it does grow, they cut it off and pay to throw it away." St. Francis, "Yes, sir." God, "These suburbanites must be really relieved in the summer when we cut back on the rain and turn up the heat. That surely slows the growth and saves them a lot of work." St. Francis, "Well, you aren't going to believe this, Lord. When the grass stops growing so fast, they drag out hoses and pay more money to water it so they can continue to mow it and pay to get rid of it." God, "What nonsense. At least they kept some of the trees. That was a sheer stroke of genius, if I do say so myself. The trees grow leaves in the spring and provide beauty and shade in the summer. In the autumn, they fall to the ground and form a natural blanket to keep moisture in the soil and protect the trees and the bushes. Plus, as they rot, the leaves form compost to enhance the soil. It's a natural circle of life." St. Francis, "You better sit down, Lord. The suburbanites have drawn a new circle. As soon as the leaves fall, they rake them into great piles and pay to have them hauled away." God, "No. What do they do to protect the shrubs and tree roots in the winter and keep the soil moist and loose?" St. Francis, "After throwing away the leaves, they go out and buy something they call mulch. They haul it home and they spread it around in place of the leaves." God, "And where do they get this mulch?" St. Francis, "They cut down trees and grind them up to make mulch." God, "Oh, enough. I don't want to think about this anymore. St. Catherine, you're in charge of the arts. What movie do they have scheduled for us tonight?" St. Catherine says, "It's Dumb and Dumber, Lord. It's a really stupid movie about—" "Never mind," says God. "I think I've just heard the whole story from St. Francis." Apparently, God and Don Engelbretson, the lone voice of the renegade gardeners, agree. He says, why tend your yard with the air of a state penal facility instead of a joyous celebration of all things natural? Renegade gardeners have come to the realization that lawns are essentially a dumb idea. A really, really dumb idea, unquote. Wisconsin's motto is forward, so we need to wake up and smell the catnip. Who's brave enough to start yardening? Please let me know if you're that brave person. Here's how you get started. It's easy. I say if a skinny little lady like me can do it, you can do it too. First of all, you go to the liquor store or grocery store. You buy a bottle of wine, and then you ask for empty boxes. Sometimes they even have them broken down for you. If you buy the wine, the boxes are free. Then contact Asplund or go to your community waste site and get wood chips. Don't buy wood chips that are treated with chemicals at big box stores. Check out drought-resistant natives from Prairie Nursery and tell Neil that Mother Nature sent you and ask for that Mother Nature discount. I have free catalogs for you, or go to Justin and DePere at Stone Silo. I have a plant list for you too. Study the natives, herbs, and veggies you want. Then spread out that cardboard or newspaper all over your lawn and top it with the wood chips. Let it rain a couple of times and start plunking like Shelley Ryan of public television tells you. Just plunk. Plunk in all those plants that you want growing there. Join Wild Ones. Membership is about $30 to $35 a year. They have frequent rescue digs, and you can easily get your $30 worth with one dig. You learn a lot from Wild Ones. You get free plants and seeds, and you meet really neat people. Then here's another little gardening tip. You can make a smoothie for your garden every day. Put all your compost from the kitchen in a $3 blender from the thrift store. Add a little bit of your gray dishwater. Make sure you're using biodegradable soap, and frappe it, as we like to say. Then toss that smoothie on your garden. It biodegrades faster, and you can do it even if you live in an apartment complex. You have no problems with rodents, raccoons, skunks, bears, or other rascals getting in your compost pile. And don't forget to enjoy that glass of wine while you admire your wonderful, wise, wild, natural, eco-friendly, biodiverse, chemical-free, planet-saving landscape. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.